That's the stuff. But yeah, we've been doing this stuff for a year now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Think about.
As of today.
Yeah. Huh. I guess then counting episode 0 has been just over a year.
Right. Yeah.
Because I finished that August 25th. No, sorry, not August 25th, but right near the end, mid-September.
Sure. I mean, and we've known each other a bit longer than that as well.
Right.
If you're talking about the anniversary of episode 1.
Yeah.
Or
as the anniversary as far as the viewers are concerned.
Or the podcast's birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it doesn't count before you're born, you know?
Yeah, because that's your conception day.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it's not generally celebrated.
No. I mean, unless you're a really close family, or from Alabama.
Or on the Patreon.
Mm-hmm. Alright, yeah. Just people who give money. I thought you were saying people give money to Patreon. Very incestuous.
That was a deep think for Sick Boy Wabbles.
Yeah. Oh boy. But yeah. Here we are. The anniversary. The 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. This is the first episode of the new season.
Yes. So yeah, it's season 2.
Mm-hmm. There is maybe a bit of a theme for this season, but I don't think anyone will be able to figure that out just yet.
Yeah, I think of a couple things that might be a giveaway, but the theme should stay relatively under the radar for at least the first few episodes.
Did we ever finalize the music change though?
Oh, maybe not. I think we probably can.
We can probably still do that.
We could probably still do that. You know, you're probably gonna hear either you've just heard the new song or you're going to, depending on how this is cut.
Yeah, or this whole bit is cut out.
Yeah, and you don't hear anything about it.
Definitely not doing this last minute again.
Why would we do that? That's preposterous.
We never do things last minute.
Never.
So I guess before we got a little bit derailed there, we were talking about season 2?
Yes, season 2.
Yeah, this special anniversary episode here, we figured that why not change things up? Instead of one of us taking a quiz here, we've actually created a quiz of sorts for you listeners to take.
Yep.
Minters, if you will.
Yes, that was it. The Minters. Of course, me and Cigar have taken it, and I guess you would explain it a bit more.
Sure.
So basically, we thought it'd be interesting to set up a system similar to Harry Potter in a way, and have 4 houses or groups, and you'll take a test and you'll be sorted into one of those 4 groups, and yeah.
So there's a link in the show notes for this MBHQ, not to be confused with the MBP HQ. It's the Minty Boys house quiz.
Right.
And yeah. We're just, you go take it or wait.
Yeah. You can pause it right now, go do it, come back. I mean, you could tell us what you got, but we won't be able to hear you because this is recorded in the past. Not the distant past, but cause it's still the past.
Oh, they could pause it. Yeah, that's a good idea. You should probably pause it now.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough time.
Yeah, right. You should have, come on, man. Yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah, if it wasn't
Insert elevator music.
if it wasn't obvious, I am in House Raccoon, and
I'm in House Doggo.
yeah,
I guess we've taken the test, and it would be bad if I was like in one of the other two houses and you were in. That the test didn't know where to put you.
Mm-hmm. Although I was surprised you had like a lot of familiarities with House Raccoon.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. That was interesting.
I was more like purely in my category. Although that might have been because I wrote most of the questions, so it was like I was kind of putting answers that.
Right, like you've kind of like had to read through these 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was kind of hard to not know which ones to pick.
Right.
But there were, I mean, I don't know. I didn't answer them all. And the quiz is kind of tricky in that, like, it forces you to give some answers that maybe you wouldn't give otherwise because it limits your choices and stuff.
Right.
So you can get a better feel for, like, what your second place and third place would be.
Yeah.
And actually, depending on how you answer it, it can be anywhere from, I think, 8 to 12 questions.
Right.
Because if you're really close, then you need more like tiebreaker questions and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it. Hope we get at least some people to take it, and also like they don't all end up in the same house. 'Cause that would be awkward.
Yeah, that would. Because we do plan on doing stuff using the houses in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
I
So,
do-
yeah, if everyone was in the same one.
Yeah, I think I wrote out something about this, but I do want to stress, like, please, like, go with what you get and, like, try and take it seriously the first time. And then you can go back and mess with it. But
Right.
I see a lot of people will, like, take the Harry Potter quiz and be like, oh, I should be Gryffindor, not a Hufflepuff or whatever. And then they go and, like, take it over and over until they can get the one they want. And it's like, that's not really the idea.
That's not how that works. Yeah. But,
Yeah. So we each have a house, but there's also 2 other houses that are, I guess, unaffiliated with us.
Yeah, to be named, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And so that'll be interesting to see how that ends up. We'll probably have some follow-up on that next episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Hold up.
Craig took that quite literally.
Alright, Craig, alright. I think Discord might be being slightly fricky. Wow, that was, alright.
Let's get Craig back in here.
Get back in here, you boy.
I didn't say you could leave.
You better be recording, you stinky bear.
In case you're new to the show and this does get left in some form, Craig is the bot which records our backup recording in case one of our recordings gets lost or deleted, which totally would never happen.
That's never happened before. No one's PC is blue screened midway through a recording before.
But the bot thought that was
happened.
the cue to leave for some reason.
He was on a time limit now of
maybe
of like 16 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, that seems like a very odd time limit.
But anyhow, so we've like general talk, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh right, there was an article for this one that I saw. Let me see if I can find it.
Alrighty. While we wait for Scott, why don't you should go do the quiz if you didn't finish it. You lazy stinky. Yeah, go do that whilst we wait.
I actually don't know if this is the article I saw originally, but this is at least another one that is using the same term in the headline.
Uh-huh.
It's a story that broke somewhat recently about an astronaut on the International Space Station that I believe it was some kind of like bank account shenanigans.
Ooh, bank account shenanigans.
Yeah. But basically, the headlines I've been seeing about it have been referring to it as the world's first space crime.
Uh-huh.
And something doesn't set right with me about the term space crime being used for this.
You've just hit by a space criminal. Bum bum da da dum dum. Yeah, I trust this person's name is Annie, so that okay. Anyhow, but yeah,
Wow.
It's a weird
Nice.
I guess it was gonna happen at some point. Probably.
Oh, the space crime thing, not the someone
Yeah,
being named
not-
Annie.
No, yeah, like that's yeah.
When you gonna make that dumb joke. Knew it would happen
But yeah,
eventually.
I would always thought it would have been like murder or something. Like, yeah, it wouldn't have been
Like you get mad at another astronaut and you like cut off their oxygen supply or something.
right, or like whilst they're doing a spacewalk, you like shut the door and cut their cable,
Yeah.
something like that. Because like you're in a small box with someone for how long? Like up to a year, 2 years. Well, I probably would. Yeah.
See, like, I think, yeah, I don't. It's just a little boring, I guess, for what's being advertised as like, oh, space crime.
Right.
You know.
It feels like it would be like some weird form of probably like it would make sense if it was like tax evasion actually, or like an offshore account, but it was actually just a box full of money,
An off-planet account.
an off-planet account, and
Keep my money on the moon.
keep my yep.
That's Bezos' plan.
Mm-hmm.
Bezos.
Bezos. They're gonna be like, oh, come down so we can arrest you, and they just be like, nah,
Don't.
no thanks.
Yeah, that could lead to some awkward situations.
Yeah.
But I mean, the situation is not very good to like evade the law at this point.
Right.
Like,
Especially if it's in such like a public way.
Yeah, in a public way, and also in a way that's like very dependent on like the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like, if this person wanted to like run away from the law instead of like going to jail, it's not like they could just hop in the escape pod and like continue to survive.
Right.
Like, they're depending on the Earth's shipments of like food and oxygen and whatever.
Right.
Like, but whatever they send there, I don't know. But it was more about like, for me, it was weird because of the term. Like, I guess they were going for like, what is it called? Like maritime law? Or like maritime like crime? When it's like when you're out to sea on a ship.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
I assume that's what they were going with the term space crime.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really make me think of that. It makes me think more like war crime almost.
Right. Like rods from God type deal.
Mm-hmm. Like, in that, like, that way of thinking about the term, you would expect a space crime to be something like blowing up a star or like destroying the atmosphere of like an undeveloped alien species planet or something, you know? Like,
Yeah.
like some kind of grand, like,
Scheme,
yeah,
not like bank shenanigans.
like messing with like the orbit of the moon so it crashes into the Earth. Like,
Shrinking the moon to impress your mother.
you wouldn't think like, yeah, just like petty theft in space.
Right.
That feels like just a normal crime that happens to have occurred in space. Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's quite weird.
I mean, does that term feel normal to you? Does it feel off? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I mean, I guess it says what it is on the can, I guess. Like it, but it's just like the most boring form of what that could be.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could be, yeah. Like it's just a really. It would be like, can't think of a good analogy, but yeah, it's just it's like this, this term that would make you think of all these like things, but yeah, it's used for like the most disinteresting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess like buying a jet plane to go to to go to the shops, or
Yeah. That's Wobble's weird analogy of the day. I'm cutting you off.
But yeah, people think like space crime would happen at some point, but yeah, I always thought it would be from like a corporation or something, like an unlawful like flight of a space shuttle craft or something.
Maybe.
Or the stealing of supplies from the ISS.
Yeah.
But or like smuggling or
Right,
stuff like that.
Even that would feel a little bit more like a space crime, of like an astronaut like stealing
Right, that would be
stuff that's gone into space and taking it back to Earth to sell it or something, like.
right, or like astronauts getting like drugs smuggled up to them.
But this is like none of the action occurred in space. This is a cybercrime.
Right. It's cybercrime. It just so happens to be situated in a tin can.
Speaking of the future, did you have something you wanted to talk about?
So Boston Dynamics, if you don't know, they're a small, well, yeah, they're a very small company. Not many people know about them, and they make these kind of useless products that no one's going to really use at any point. But no, so yeah, Boston Dynamics, the company that makes like robots that can walk on any terrain and can juggle whilst being kicked and also on ice. They have released the Spot, which is small. I think it's smaller, like it's about the same size as their little dog, but it's just a commercial product. But they've also added like a open source aspect where you can just program it to do whatever you want.
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh, and also Boston Dynamics is I only found this out recently, but they're also owned by Google.
Are they?
Yeah.
Have they been like for a long time?
Owned by Alphabet.
Is that a reason?
I think since like. Hang on, let me.
I did not know that. I always think of Boston Dynamics as just like the horrifying like military ? Robot making company. I didn't know they were owned by Google.
Google sold Boston Dynamics to SoftBank. What does SoftBank do?
On this episode of Googling with Wobbs, we're gonna dig into Boston Dynamics.
Pepper Robot and major M&A player.
Who is the majority owner of the...
That is acquiring 2 more robotics companies from Google owner Alphabet.
Robo-apocalypse bringers.
As part of its own deeper move into the field.
That's fine.
Buying big dog developer. So SoftBank are already like a well-established tech company apparently. But yeah, so they're like a well-established tech company is who owns them. But yeah, they have an open source thing, essentially making these small little robots that can carry up to like 14 kilos. Open source as well. So if you have enough money to buy one, I haven't actually seen the price for them, but if you're able to buy one of those, you can kind of make it do whatever. It's kind of spooky. But you know, I was watching the commercial for it. It looks quite interesting, but like because it's going commercial, you can kind of tell the technology is getting kind of cheaper and cheaper. So you know,
Yeah,
can only mean that
that is kind of a...
this interested me, and I actually started watching loads of Boston Dynamics videos because they're quite interesting, and they do like a lot of stuff. Like their Atlas robot is insane. That's the two-legged one.
That's the one that can do like backflips and stuff, right?
Right. And they have like all these like this one where it was like a log, and when they had to jump from a log onto a box, it was able to like balance its weight perfectly. Also saw one which was like this logistic bot, and it had like two wheels. Then underneath, then it had like these two wheels, and then it had like a counterweight swinging, and then it had this big arm with a big like sucker thing on it. But yeah, it's just kind of. I mean, I want one. That'd be great. Have my little robo dog that can. I probably can't ride it. No, I can't ride it.
Oh, this is okay.
If I've got 6, I could ride it.
This is interesting. It's like the yellow one is the commercial one.
Yeah, the yellow one with all the fancy casing.
That's.
The normal ones just look like bare wiring and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, that is. I mean, there's a lot of ways this could be misused.
Almost certainly. It's probably going to be used more for like construction sites and just taking stuff around. But still, like.
Yeah, and like I'm sure a lot of schools will like get one to like, practice, like learn about robotics and whatever.
Right.
But yeah.
I know you definitely see. Like, we had that whole, over here with that issue of someone flying drones into Gatwick and Heathrow Airport.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have 4-legged possible death machines that could also...
Right. This thing can run pretty fast and like avoid obstacles and like climb over stuff, like...
Right. And it's like waterproof and...
I'm getting very close to like that episode of Black Mirror with the drones that run around and kill people.
But yeah, it feels like something's gonna happen where some lawsuit's gonna break out because someone put a camera on it, and then it was able to wander around like into someone's house.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking of... Yeah.
Either
someone will strap a bomb to it, or someone will put a camera on it, or like...
Well, a gun, actually.
Yeah.
Because also has the little... I'm not sure if the arm comes with it, but you can buy... You see, like, the little arm they have, which they can use to grab stuff.
Mm-hmm. Open doors.
Yeah. But,
That's crazy, like... how futuristic this seems, but also... like kind of scary.
Yeah, it's
guess,
really spoopy.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of like the summary for Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
But it was it at least felt more contained when it was like just them like testing things,
Right.
Not making them
like them
publicly available.
Yeah. Like watching the videos of Big Dog getting like kicked over or slipping on banana peels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, instead you can actually it's kind of scary. Also like how easy it is to like switch out the batteries and do all the maintenance of it. Like you would think if one of those things broke down in any way, it would be really hard to fix. But like it comes with like it comes with a rechargeable battery pack and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not like too hard if it runs out of batteries.
Well, like you said, I don't see like a price point on this. But
No.
I imagine it's quite high, and if you're paying thousands of dollars for a thing, then yeah, you probably want it to like come with some sort of, protection plan, security kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure they make it very easy to like keep it working.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to spend like $20,000 on a robot and then have its leg get caught on something and then just be like, oh, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was money well spent.
Yeah, it is quite scary. See, I've gone on the website, but like, when you go on, you have to contact sales.
Mm-hmm. That's when you know something's real expensive, when they won't tell you on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of spoopy.
Apartment hunting recently, and I ran into some places like that where they were like the really posh apartments, and you'd go on their website and they'd be like, oh yeah, contact us for pricing. It's like,
Right.
This basically means I can't afford it.
But yeah, the robot overlords are getting stronger as the days go on.
Mm-hmm.
And here we sit idly by doing nothing.
We're doing a podcast,
Yeah.
Not doing nothing. Pretty close to nothing. But maybe our robot overlords will listen to this and take pity on us.
Hopefully.
Do you want to... I feel like at an anniversary episode is a good time to make predictions. Do you have any, like... while we're talking about, like, space crimes and, like, robo-apocalypse, do you have any, like, semi-long-term tech predictions?
Ooh. Maybe the stuff with SpaceX Starship. I think maybe that will have its... Because they've only done, like, small test flights, haven't they? I think we'll probably have our first, like... somewhat significant flight of the SpaceX Starship. Right, yeah. What else? Oh, we possibly might make more advancements getting closer to 5G. So that's going to be quite tricky to do. Because you have to set up a lot of stuff for that. I don't know.
I saw there were some scheduled crewed moon missions coming up in the next couple of years.
Oh, really? Huh. That should be interesting. Yeah. What else?
Yeah, I don't know. It's always hard to predict with things like this, but...
Yeah.
Do you think that people will have... Not necessarily these exact yellow doggo robots from Boston Dynamics, but do you think people will have robots of that sort, like, in their homes at some point?
Yeah. I guess Roombas probably will get really fancy if technology gets a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Roombas are sort of the first step towards that.
Drone technology would definitely get a lot better as well.
At what point do you think it would be like cheap enough to where like people would have something like this in their house, like maybe connected to their like home
smart speakers,
like home assistant things? Yeah, like I'm trying not to say the names of any of them, but
Yeah.
So you could be like, oh, like pick up that thing for me, or like whatever.
Right, or go get the newspaper.
Yeah, and it would like go fetch.
Get me my slippers. And I know people have done stuff with Roombas where they can get their Roombas to go to specific rooms using voice commands. Mm-hmm. Or I think someone set something up with drones as well. I think probably like something we're going to see at least within the next couple of years would be like a mixture of like a drone and this.
Mm-hmm.
So it can fly around, but also it can go on land. Yeah, should be pretty insane. But yeah,
They just got to make it so it can seek out plugs and
Right.
charge itself. And then the counter to that will be like people making fake plugs that look like normal plugs, and actually like electrocute it or something.
right. Like triggers an EMP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll see our first like robot assisted crime at some point, like a bank robbery done out by one of these robots.
Yeah, like proper, like, I think there's already been like some forms of like terrorism probably done with like drones and stuff, but
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, the case of drone terrorism.
but yeah, you're talking like a proper like, yeah, that would be interesting. Like one of these
Yeah.
things with like an iPad strapped to the top of it and some guy talking through the tablet or whatever, or even just like a speaker or whatever, just like be like, hey, put the money in the bag, and the thing holds out it's like a little robotic arm and then takes the money and runs away. Like the thing is,
Right.
I don't, yeah, maybe if it was a hybrid and it could fly away after, I feel like it would have a hard time getting very far if it was just running, because like, I mean, they show you can kick them over and they like don't fall over.
But like they only move at like what, 20 miles per hour? Where is it?
Yeah, and you could probably like block it off with cars.
1.6 meters per second. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I feel like you don't see enough videos of them kicking it a second time.
Right.
Like they kick it once really hard and it sort of like stumbles but doesn't fall over and keeps walking. But like,
Right.
you know, imagine if you go and kick it a second time while it's still stumbling, like probably it would fall over and then be sad and drop the money.
Right. That's very good at getting back up as well. But
I mean, I guess the advancements they would make in the next 5 years, maybe it could be viable.
maybe like they also rewire it so like if anything happens it can just combust. It's self-destruct.
Mm-hmm.
Killing everyone in the area.
Or maybe it would be, maybe there would be multiple ones, like that one would go in and get the money, but then it would, as soon as it gets outside, it would pass the money off to like a flying drone that would scoop it up
Right.
and fly off. And then
And
it
then-
would get into a self-driving car and be driven
I was
away.
going to say you'd have 3 of these robots
Yeah.
and they would all run in different directions. And they would all be carrying similar looking bags, but yeah, then like actually the drone has flown off of it.
They were all programmed by this guy, but then he had like a heart attack, and they just continue to like rob banks and stockpile it in his house, not realizing that their like creator has died. And then at some point they're just like, yes, the robot bandits headquarters have been found, and they have millions of dollars.
A dead body has also been found. But yeah, it's interesting to see how technology progresses.
Yeah. Speaking of robots being the superior race, I hear you're feeling quite inferior.
Yeah, you might be able to tell. I'm very unwell. I always think when I'm ill, like I always think back to like what I've done in the past week for me to get like this. But like the thing is, most viruses and stuff normally do like some of them take a while to. Yeah, it's not like as soon as it enters your body, you're like bam, just sick. Sometimes it can take like up to a week to actually start affecting you.
Right.
But I have had it where like yeah, I've sat next to someone who's been quite ill in class, and then like when I get home I feel ill.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's definitely a case where it's like something that's because I've been taking a lot of public transport recently, so I think I wonder if it's like I've touched a rail, then touched my face or something.
Yeah.
And
Just being like in public with lots of other people, there's like
yeah,
it's impossible to trace all the germs that you come in contact with. Like there's just so many.
right. And also, I think because I've been alive for a while, my immune system is done with all of the minor colds. So now if I get colds, I get the worst possible ones now.
Mm-hmm.
And only those ones. Like last year I had a pretty atrocious cold. I filled up 2 like small bins of tissues.
Right.
I think I was able to play through all of the played through Ratchet and Clank, which one was it? Weapons of Mass Destruction.
Is that the newer one?
Which one is that? I think that's the one that came out on the PS3.
I never played too much Ratchet and Clank, but I played a lot of Spyro, which is made by the same company. Because there were actually
Insomnia.
Yeah, there was
There's something Spider-Man.
Yeah, Insomniac and Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog, yeah.
Were like 2 like game developing companies that I think they shared like an office space early on.
Right.
But it was like Naughty Dog was working on like Crash Bandicoot, and Insomniac was working on Spyro.
Right.
They would always have like little crossovers of like
Right.
on I think the original Spyro there was like a Crash demo that you could play if you like pressed the right button combination on the menu, like little stuff like that. And I think they actually shared some sound effects at one point. So we're just like, oh, we need a sound for like the TNT or whatever, and it's like, oh, just use this one.
Yeah.
But when Naughty Dog finished making Crash games and they like sold the rights off, they started making Jak and Daxter.
Right.
Similar like platforming.
Yeah, those games are very
duo.
That's the other game.
And
that's very similar to that. Oh, the raccoon one.
Yeah. And Insomniac started making Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
That was like kind of similar, like it was like a duo. But yeah, you played that when you were sick.
Yeah. I feel like my most productive like video game playing is normally done when I'm very ill and have nothing else to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I beat Ratchet and Clank. I think played a lot of Lego games when I was very young. One time I was ill and I managed to play through all of Lego Star Wars, The Clone Wars. I remember when that was brand new. That was great. That was
I've never actually played that one. I played Lego Star Wars 1 and Lego Star Wars 2, which were the prequel movies and then the original saga.
I played a lot of so I played Lego Star Wars 3. I also played a lot of the complete saga on my DS.
Right.
What was the I had one. I think I had Lego Star Wars 1 on my Xbox. What's another game I've played a lot on? I played like quite recently I played a lot of Lightning McQueen because I know I thought it'd be funny.
It's like a cars racing game?
Yeah, it's a cars racing game. It's pretty fun. It's like an open world as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. What else? What's another game I didn't think I'd ever play, but because I was ill, I played lots of it. Raving Rabbids Go Home. Rabbids Go Home, that's definitely on my top 10 best games list.
Really?
Yeah. Right. I very much like that game.
Yeah.
But I haven't played it for a while, but yeah. I do have a lot of fond memories of it.
I think it's really interesting, like, what people do when they're sick.
Yeah.
Like, you play a bunch of old, like, random games.
Yeah.
Or, like...
So I've just watched YouTube and done some editing.
Yeah.
That's what I've done with my sick wabbles day to day. But, if it was...
I've definitely, like, binged stuff as well. I had a friend one time who was sick, and he ended up watching like all of Monty Python's Flying Circus, like
Really?
start to finish.
I think I binge watched Sherlock one time as well.
Yeah, I feel like those are like good activities. Either just like play all the way through like a video game that doesn't take like too much effort. Like I think
Right.
the Lego games are perfect for that because they're like fun, but they're not
Yeah.
like super hard.
Yeah, just kind of goofy.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, by the time we're doing the next episode, you won't be sick, Boy Wabbles.
Probably not. I started feeling ill like Saturday with like just a sore throat,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sunday I felt terrible, but now I feel slightly a bit better.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be fine by like
Like this.
Wednesday, perfectly fine by the end of the week, but like functioning by Wednesday.
Right.
Or I mean, timeless time period that has not been disclosed.
I think it's fair to say Wednesday. I mean,
It could be any Wednesday. It could have been.
well, obviously it's the anniversary today,
Right.
October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because people are listening to this the day that it comes out and no other day.
Yeah. After the day it comes out, we actually remove it from the
Right.
RSS feed.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and it's not the day it came out, welcome to the special secret club. You've hacked the system. There's just been a glitch in the
also-
matrix, and you can listen to it.
The FBI come around your house. You have just committed piracy. You wouldn't steal a handbag, but did you use like LimeWire or Napster?
Use LimeWire to steal a handbag? No, use the Boston Dynamics robot. We've been over this. The giant claw thing on the top of it just grabs the bag and runs out.
Yeah, but speaking of video games, let's go to our favorite section, or the segment. Yeah, that's video games.
Video games.
Video games.
Yeah. So like, sort of funny that came up earlier, but
Yeah.
yes, Spyro I like played a lot when I was little, like the original trilogy, because they did like kind of a similar thing as like Naughty Dog, where they made the first 3 Spyro games, and
Yeah.
and then Insomniac sold it off to some other company and started making like Ratchet and Clank or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've played some of those later Spyro games, and they're okay, but I don't think they're nearly as good.
Skylanders.
Oh well, that's even later.
Yeah, that's up until recently.
This Skylander stuff is, not a fan.
Yeah. I played the Giants one.
But there were several like more normal Spyro games that were made that were like similar to the original 3, but just not made by Insomniac.
Right.
And those ones, it's kind of funny. Like they got like Elijah Wood and like Wayne Brady to do like voices, which is just like always bizarre to me when I see that. But the original Spyro trilogy has recently been remastered,
Right. Oh yeah, I've seen that.
and that's been out for a little while, but it came out on Switch.
Right, like
More recently, it came out on Switch, and I played it a bit, and it's pretty good. It's actually, I don't know if I can find these and get them into the show notes, but I did run into like 1 or 2 small glitches on the Switch version. I think it might have been something to do with the port, and I think there's been an update since then that probably fixed it, but
probably.
I was just playing it within like the first week. But there was one level where like the music stopped and like all the sound cut out, like the sound effects stopped as well. and there was nothing like to fix it other than just like to leave, to like close the game and like reopen it. So that was weird. And then there was another guy who like, it of course had to happen to like the weirdest enemy in the game. There's these Norks. Norks in Spyro are basically like little like goblin guys.
Yeah.
And there's ones in the Peacekeeper homeworld that will run into some tents, and then if you like burn the tent, you can see them again, and they'll be like cowering in fear when you're looking at them. But if you turn your back, they start like taunting you, and they're like turn around and like moon you, which is just a very like a weird thing that was in the game that like they kept in the remaster, because people would have been outraged if they changed that. But I killed one of those guys, but for some reason it glitched and he didn't despawn.
Oh.
He was like already dead, but he was still like, his like sprite was still there, like running like the taunt animation. And it's just like, regardless of if I was looking at him or not, he was just continuing to like moon me. I took some screenshots. I'll see if I can get those into the show notes, but it was very
right.
It was very weird, and it was like, of course, it would have to be like that enemy, like any of the other enemies. It wouldn't have been as funny, but
right.
I
can imagine.
Yeah.
That's probably been patched now though.
Yeah, and otherwise
it's been out for a hot minute.
It plays very nicely, and I appreciate that it's like very, very much like a remake, not like or it's like a remaster. It's not like a like full like redesign. Like they didn't make a lot of like unnecessary changes. It's basically just kept everything how it was.
Yeah, it's always good.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, what else have I been playing? Oh, I played Overcooked 2. Which I don't know if you've played Overcooked. It's like a little
Yeah, I haven't played it because I don't have any friends, but
oh yeah, that makes sense.
But I've seen it, people play it, but I haven't. I think I've the original Overcooked, but I've never been able to play it 'cause I've never had enough people over for it to be. I guess you could do it with 2 people, but it's just
two people is kind of fun, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've just never had enough people.
Yeah, if you have like a partner or someone to like go through all of them with and try and get like 3 stars on every level, like that could be fun. But it's really, I feel like it's a perfect modern like party game sort of thing.
Yeah, because it's cooperative, I guess. Well, depending on...
Yeah, it's cooperative, but it's also the sort of thing where it's like you're playing it for like 15 seconds and then you're just like yelling at people like
eventually
like,
you
chop
end
the
up strangling
tomatoes
someone.
already. Like I need them.
Clean the bloody dishes.
Yeah.
I want those burgers pronto. Where is the lamb sauce?
So that's good, but it is definitely something that if you want the full experience, you need like some other people.
Yeah. How many people can you have in a thing, actually?
I think it's just 4.
Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be
like 18 people.
That would be crazy. Yeah, maybe if they do a third one, there will be like a special mode where you have like 8 people.
Insanity mode.
That'd be awesome. I feel like that's where to go for Overcooked 3.
I normally see it on videos on game design for co-op levels and how they're very good at, like, there's like the level of the boat where everything moves around, or there's like the conveyor belt one where like different, or the like a volcano one where different sections are cut off.
They do a very good job of like making it so you have to share things, like, oh, you have the ingredients but they have the cutting board, but you have the pot, but they are the one who has to serve the finished product on the plate. So it's like you have to do a lot of like back and forth across like little sections of the level. Yeah, definitely would recommend as like a fun multiplayer experience. Maybe not so much if
Does that have an online mode?
If you don't have friends. Overcooked 2 has an online mode. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure about Overcooked, because I think I have Overcooked because it was free on Epic Games Launcher.
The original one is just local multiplayer, and I think part of that is that it was just basically like an indie game that took off, and the second one,
that's essentially what
is much more.
The second one was like, oh frick, we probably should.
It's like we actually have money now to like produce this nicely, whereas the first one was just like. Here's a fun little game. That being said, there is a program, Parsec, I believe it's called, that is a pretty good way to play online multiplayer of Overcooked 1.
Already? Huh.
Because what it does is it like shares your control of your computer with another person while you're streaming.
Huh. I see. So it's a bit like the Nvidia thing, but with, or like, it's like TeamView, but like you can, yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like you're doing like a screen share, but the person who's watching the screen share can plug a controller in, and
like it's TeamView, but you've allowed remote access, but it's like not laggy and doesn't. And you don't get your information stolen by Indian call centers.
See, it's hard for me to say because I have tested it with the original Overcooked, and it did work well enough to play a few levels. But I've only ever tested it as the host. I've never tested it as the like, remote player. So I can't. Yeah. I heard it was a little laggy, but I can't say whether that was like. If they were underselling it or overselling it, like, because I haven't actually, but it is possible. But I would say Overcooked 2 is better because it's just got the online multiplayer built in, and they also in Overcooked 2 added the ability to throw items.
Oh, that sounds good.
Which can add to the level design quite a bit because there can be situations where it's like, oh, you're on the other side of this like gap of like ice or whatever, and I have to like throw the ingredients to you so that you can chop them and throw them back. Like, I don't know, fun times. Maybe not so good for solo play though. Much more of like a party game.
Actually, I don't think you can even play Overcooked. Like whenever you play, it's like you can't start until you have someone else in your party.
Oh, can you not? Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, I tried to play it and it's like a friend is like, oh.
Yeah, that makes sense because there's some levels where you like can't actually get to the second area at all. You have to use like the conveyor belts and stuff. Yeah. So if you were being just a real sado, you could get 2 controllers and play both halves.
Right.
That would be, I feel like that would be a raised difficulty level. Like, you still get 3 stars if you're playing both halves.
Or like the 4-player mode.
Or, I think that'd be impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
But that being said, maybe a better use of your time, if you're just looking for a 1-player game, Magic Arena, MTG Arena. I played it a bit when it first came out, and we talked about it on the show before. And then I kind of stopped playing it for a while. Recently gotten back into it. I'm working my way up the ranks.
Right.
I'm at like a gold rank right now. But as I got more interested in the ranked, I was like looking into how the system works and realized there's actually tournaments for... I knew that there were like Magic the Gathering tournaments, and I've done some like local ones before, but the Pro Tour, where like the big boys play with and win real money, always seemed kind of out of my reach, you know?
Right.
Because I wasn't gonna like spend lots of money to get expensive cards and like, you know, like just try to keep up with whatever the current strategies were and stuff.
Work the grind, yeah.
Yeah, like that just wasn't something I ever like felt like I could do. But there's apparently some championships specifically for Arena, the like virtual Magic the Gathering.
Right.
And as I was looking more into this, I was surprised to see they actually have bigger prize pools.
Huh.
So you could actually make more money playing a virtual version of a card game than playing the real
Actual version.
yeah,
Right.
like paper version. Which I thought was odd.
Right.
You would think they would support their like paper version more,
Yeah.
because Arena is free to play.
But yeah.
So I would think, but I guess maybe that's just the power of like free to play games with like in-app purchases,
Yeah, microtransactions.
microtransactions. That's I always like underestimate how much money games like that can make.
Yeah.
Like Candy Crush or whatever, making just like billions of dollars.
From extra lives.
Yeah. Just like, so I mean maybe that's why the prize pools are bigger.
Right.
But I would have expected the physical cards that people have to like buy in packs instead of just like grinding for coins to buy them.
Right.
I would have expected those to warrant a larger prize.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I know you're out of the Magic game.
My Magic days are behind me now.
Your Magic days are behind you. You've retired.
Yeah. And I'll live on a small farm in the country.
I will say I got milled out in Arena the other day, which I don't know if that had ever happened to me before, but maybe it's some cards from this new set. I'm not sure, but
Oh man, I remember when I used to run a mill deck.
yeah, I figured you would appreciate that. This person just prevented me from doing anything and then just kept dumping my cards in the graveyard, and I was powerless to stop it.
I do remember, like, when we did those big games, one time I was kind of just brewing an army in the corner, and then people were like, wait, hang on, he has a 13-13, what's going on? And then,
Yeah.
Well, there's that time I was able to get you in a corner, because no matter what you did, I could still get rid of all of your cards.
Yeah. See, sadly, Arena doesn't have any way of doing big multiplayer games like that.
Oh, no. But that was
Those
good on Cockatrice.
Yeah. Those are very fun.
Yeah. Because I remember the exact thing. It was the card where it was like, you could put a card under this one, and as soon as your enemy gets under 20 cards in their library, you can play this card. And then my card was, I forgot what it was called, but it was the one that when you take damage, you exile 20 cards.
It's like the Mind Drinker or something.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah. Or no, was it Ulamog?
Oh, it was the big giant guy, I remember.
Yeah, I think it was like Ulamog.
Yeah, Ulamog. But, those days are long gone now. So Google have been pushing their Stadia thing for the last while now.
What?
The Google Stadia, which is like their gaming platform, I guess. And what it will be, it's like a Chromecast, but for video games, essentially. I'm still not, like, no one's really sure how it works, but it's a subscription service, so you pay about, I think, $8.99 a month. But then I don't know how the games work though. I'm not sure if you have to buy the games separately, or if they come with the system because it's a subscription based service.
I would hope
like
they come
Netflix.
with it if it's a subscription.
Yeah, because you also have to buy a care package at the beginning, which is about where you have to get the actual thing itself. Sorry, the controller and yeah. So I wonder if I guess a couple games do come with that, and I think you get to pick which game comes with that package. I'm most likely probably gonna get Borderlands 3 or something, or There are a few good games that were on there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because my family's quite Google centric, so we were just talking about like it would be interesting seeing if we could do that. Yeah, I know this was they talked about this a while ago, Google, but it's just interesting development how Google are trying to get their foot in the door with video games and how they can do stuff. And how they can do stuff, because it's a bit like the Nvidia GeForce Now and a third party company's I think it's like called like Shadow Cloud. There's a couple services that offer the same thing. But yeah,
this is interesting. I've not heard anything about this, but I like that their controller is like a weird like combination of it has the letters in the same positions as Xbox, but it's got the thumbsticks down at the bottom like PlayStation.
yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, it is quite cool because it's like you can play them, like the games, anywhere on any if you can plug it in, or so that's quite cool.
It's trying to say it's like console-less, but it does have this little dongle thingy.
Yeah, it's like a little boxy
like
thing.
Like Chromecast thing. So it's not, I guess in a sense that's a console, but is it saying that like the processing's not being done on that? It's like cloud.
It's like
cloud-based.
That's like kind of like a small antenna that I guess it's a bit like, that's like, I wonder if all that is just like not a hard drive, like all it is like a bit like a Chromecast. It's just like a small, like I guess antennae, like it's just taking in something.
Yeah, it's like
it's just taking in a signal
to connect it to the internet, and then also connect it to the wireless controller. Yeah, it makes sense.
This always makes you wonder if Google ever make a TV.
Mm-hmm. Well, they would just have all of. They've made TVs. I don't know that they've done the actual hardware for a TV. I think they always work with like Sony or someone.
Yeah.
But they do have like a Google like TV OS, like a version of Android that's designed for TVs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I know that's in some TVs at least. I don't know if they're still doing that or if they've just focused on the Chromecast thing. Yeah. This is interesting. I know Apple has a kind of similar, like they're trying to push some gaming thing, subscription thing, I think. But theirs is more focused on like mobile.
Actually, I remember all the games when they were pushing Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Apple Store they would have a television and the little controller things. But yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well,
Apple Arcade is what they're calling it now.
I see. Because before it was just like Apple TV, but also we could do games.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably as much of as like, yeah. But I don't know. Hopefully it's not another Pippin.
Yeah. I want a Pippin.
Yeah, I want to get one to see what the whole hubbub is about.
Yeah.
Also, there's a game on there which was It's isn't it? Yeah, it's the same game. Like it's the first game the people who made Doom ever made is on there.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, the origin is on like a dead console.
But that's
It's
just
quite
because they're an
interesting.
older company than
Yeah, I think
like,
they were just
Google.
like, cool. Like, yeah.
I would say I hope that the Google one is not like another Steam box thing, where it's like that thing Valve tried to do, where it was like a good
Oh,
idea
big screen.
in theory. What was it?
Big screen. That's the one where it's, let's say you had your PC plugged into a TV. You could, if you hit a button, it becomes more like a console home screen. Like it's very similar to that of the like an Xbox and PS4. I think they did it just after they released the Steam controller.
No,
Um,
no,
What
I'm
do you
talking about
mean?
like the Steam machine.
well, the Steam machine. I didn't.
It was like a basically like a
Oh,
like pre-built like gaming computer that you
Oh, I
could buy
see.
that would just run the Steam OS.
oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, Alienware did the thing with him. Yeah, okay. I remember Dan TDM getting one of these because he's one of these companies, one of those channels that gets stuff from Alienware.
Which like conceptually makes a lot of sense, and I think
Like, yeah, it's it's just a slightly failed Nvidia Shield. Which, the Nvidia Shield is a fascinating PC console. I think that's actually a similar idea to the Stadia, I guess, because all it is like this thin book, but I think it's using the stuff they use for GeForce Now. Because they also have their own little like controller tablet thing as well.
this controller with the screen that flips up looks really goofy.
Yeah, but also their controller, like I love. It looks really comfortable to hold, but I love the angular design of their normal of the standard controller. Yeah, but
Yeah, they went for like a low poly design aesthetic. Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, but yeah, it should be it's interesting seeing how
These are interesting times in like gaming and like media in general, like
yeah,
because you
as
have you have companies like Apple and Google and Amazon that are just trying to break into everything now. you know?
right.
Like you have companies like Sony, PlayStation, and like Nintendo that are like, oh, you're like video game companies, and then you have companies like Disney and like NBC Universal and stuff that are like, oh, you're like movie TV companies,
Right.
and then you suddenly have Apple like trying to come up with this like TV like streaming service, and also like get into like the gaming market more, and like Google is I guess like pushing like YouTube as like their streaming service, but
Right. Like you can buy also for YouTube Music as well. And yeah, but Amazon's also. I wonder if Amazon will have a gaming service soon.
they have, yeah, they own Twitch, so that helps probably.
Yeah, they do. That probably does. Yeah, that's interesting when you like every major, like the big four of Facebook, Apple, Google, and Amazon all have their own.
Facebook's got their VR. It's like, does it have anything to do with Facebook, the website? Not really, but
Oculus Rift is cool.
it's just
And then yeah,
that's the thing these days is like, oh, you're a big tech company. Well, I guess you do like everything, right?
yeah, right.
It's like, why specialize when you could like make movies and video games and TV shows and
Yeah, Maybe we'll see SoftBank, whatever they do. Maybe they'll have a streaming service in the future.
Yeah.
Boston Dynamic, the TV.
Yeah. You thought you were excited about like Wii Sports, where you like wave the remote around and like play tennis? No, like go play tennis with this robot. Boston Dynamics video game console in quotation marks.
Actually, they probably would do something like a VR headset, but then it streams to like a cam footage of a robot.
Oh, that's...
You get to control the robot.
I feel like then people would be playing first-person shooters of Boston Dynamics robots.
Oh, that'd be so, but like laser tag, I guess.
Yeah, laser tag. Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be I guess that's but gaming is becoming developing a lot, becoming more widely accepted.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Well, I guess we have seen the rise and fall of YouTube gaming, I guess. Then they just made it a subsection of YouTube.
Gaming on... Oh. I forgot what YouTube gaming was. I feel like I missed that.
I used it for a bit, because I like the interface for streaming a bit better. Because you could go full screen, but still have the chat on the side if you do it right. You can't do that on normal YouTube. Like, because you either have it with the normal... Because I normally have YouTube in cinematic mode because it's bigger.
So it was for streaming games. It wasn't for like playing games.
No, it was for streaming games and just gaming YouTube in general. But yeah.
Are we interested to see how this Stadia is gonna be? You're gonna get one probably.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
My
if you do, you have to
got quite
back.
a Google centric family.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually this Friday we're getting the big version of the Google Home display thing.
Ooh.
That should be cool. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I guess one last game that I haven't played too much of yet, but I'm a big Nintendo fan.
Right.
And they've just very slowly started like making mobile games. So whenever they come out with a new one, I'm always interested in it. Like
yeah.
I always go to play it and see if it's like any good. But they just recently came out with Mario Kart on. It's at least on iOS. I don't know if there's an Android version. Probably will be if there isn't already. But
I know. Didn't Nintendo do a deal with the devil, so they have exclusivity for a bit?
It might. Yeah, they might. I
remember they did that with Mario Go, but I'm not sure.
I did have that long-standing theory that like Apple was just gonna buy Nintendo.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It hasn't happened yet, but I think they think similarly enough of the time. I kind of hope it doesn't happen because I think Apple is a lot greedier than Nintendo. Yeah. Nintendo's like for like decades now has always had like the basically lowest price point on their consoles compared to like Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, they've been the
and Apple is not known for their low prices. So I feel like that's their biggest difference, so I hope they don't do that. But they are similar in the sense of like they like to have control of their products and, you know, don't like sell the rights out to everybody.
Right.
But yeah, the Mario Kart is interesting. It's, I don't know. It seems kind of basic, but it's hard to judge because I haven't played it too much yet. So I haven't gotten like, maybe it gets harder or more complicated if I get a little bit further into it. I'm not sure that it would ever replace like an actual console version with just these like touch controls on the screen.
Right.
But I could definitely see it being a thing that like little kids enjoy. It's like, oh, it's the same thing because I play with assist mode on and I don't know any difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
I've always wondered how because it's always awkward with mobile games how they try to translate controls onto, like, I remember they released Brothers, a story of two brothers of two sons onto mobile at some point. And I remember that was a whole hubbub because the feeling of moving two people with joysticks on a controller didn't really translate that well onto two little slidey things on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah, and I remember
think Minecraft is the only one that's spent a lot of since they're trying to push the whole what's the one? I think there's because I know they're trying to push. I think it's Bedrock Edition is the one they're trying to push at the moment. Because they want everything to be universal, so they've tried to make the controls for each platform as easy to use as possible.
Yeah.
So
make it like properly cross-platform.
The Minecraft ones are remarkable.
Yeah.
And like when I'm on the Minecraft subreddit, you will see screenshots from mobile, and it's like what there's only a few things. Like I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice. Like if I didn't see the little panel on the bottom, I wouldn't have even noticed it was mobile.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I do remember playing like the PUBG mobile when that came out. Just out of curiosity of like how the controls worked.
Did they do it good?
I feel like it was okay, but it was it's mobile controls are always weird to me. I never even played like Minecraft Pocket Edition very much. I always played the Java, but I will agree that like I think Minecraft has put the most effort into making their mobile controls like sort of seamless. Like they definitely seem to care the most of like, let's make these controls like good.
Yeah.
I don't know, at the end of the day I feel like it's nice to have a controller.
Right. Like the physical feeling of...
Yeah. And I think people understand that, and I think that's probably why like the Google Stadia is like a product. Because it's like basically just a controller and like it links you up to like a service where you can play the games. You know?
Right. Oh yeah, it's on Android.
Oh, the Mario Kart?
Yeah.
Nice. Maybe we can race later.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a thing. I don't even know if that's a thing. But yeah, this is a happy anniversary, Wabbles. This has been a wild ride.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It certainly has been a thing that we have done, but is continuing to happen.
Yeah.
It's continuing to occur.
It's been a new thing to get used to. Having people actually want to taking time out of that day to listen to you. So, but yeah, hopefully to another year,
to season 2. See
to good health.
Next episode. To good health. Yeah. Yeah.
Dink.
Wait, where's my tea?
I've got another mug here. Hang on.
Perfect.
Perfect. Just sync that up so it sounds. But yeah.
All right.
See you, Minters. Chapter 28. As you've just heard me say, it is now currently Chapter 28. And we start with these people who have been brought up to and selectively handpicked to learn the true meaning, the ultimate question, the answer to the greatest question.
Right. Yeah. And they've just heard the answer, which is, of course, 42.
And they're like, well, frick. We're gonna get lynched, aren't we? Yeah, and they're just like, it's 7.5 million years. And then Poochug is like, well, I guess that's just the question. it's everything.
Yeah, but Deep Thought's like, the problem is you don't know the question.
Yeah, you don't know the actual question. instead of the actual, like, well...
Yeah, like he just found the answer, but they didn't actually ask the question. They just wanted the answer to the question that they didn't ask.
Yeah. Deep thought was like, well, I'll just make you design you a robot or computer that can compute the answer, the question even.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, so like it'll make sense if we have the question.
Right.
So what's the question? And Deep Thought's like, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. Let me make you something that is.
Yeah, and it was like, it needs to be so subtle and nuanced, it needs organic parts as its main components.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly Deep Thought was like, well, and it should be called the Earth. What a dull name, he said. And it's not that terrible of a name. Better than, like, Uranus.
Yeah, but I think part of the joke is that they have, like, silly sounding names like Loongwall and
Poochug.
And
Slotty Bartfast. Well, not currently, but yeah.
Yeah,
like all like, the names we've heard.
Yeah, so like Earth is kind of plain, like.
Yeah, and they have been telling us previously in previous chapters about like the Google Hyperplex capacitor or something and stuff like that. So it is quite a stark contrast. But then the entire like room falls apart, and then.
Oh yeah, particularly for like all the names of like the fancy computers.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah, like Earth maybe be okay as a planet name, but they're thinking of it as this amazing computer.
Yeah, right.
Is being designed, and they all have like these big like egotistical sort of names.
Yeah, I mean it's just for the one that's meant to find the ultimate question, it's just a 5-letter word.
Yeah.
But yeah, then suddenly like the entire room falls apart, and Slutty Bartfast just goes, end of tape.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where that chapter ends.
Yeah. Oh, shortly before the world falls apart, though, I did notice it was saying that Deep Thought said to them that you shall take new forms and go down into the computer.
Oh yeah.
Which is like just like confirming that like what we already kind of knew was the beings which designed this whole thing are like now in the form of mice.
Right. Yeah.
And that the computer is Earth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it crumbles, and that's basically the end of the Sensotape records and the end of...
Chapter 28. Chapter 29. Zaphod wakes up.
Yeah. He's sleeping, and I like this line. He says, let me stick to what I'm good at.
And then Ford goes, do you want me to kick you? And then Zaphod says, would it give you a lot of pleasure? No. Nor me. So what's the point?
Yeah. But he wakes up when Ford mentions the planet is made of gold.
All right, yeah.
But then, much to Zaphod's dismay,
it's a holotape.
Yeah, it's a
like a waiting room, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like a catalog of like different planets. So it's like a sampler.
Right.
But then as the chapter goes on, Zaphod and Ford talk about how they met the former galactic president.
Oh yeah, when they were younger. And Zaphod like re-engineered a civilian cruiser into a like a unstoppable battleship, and like cruised it through a super crater ship.
Yeah, it was like when they were kids, and Zaphod was trying to rob the former president, who at the time I guess was like a captain on a ship. Zaphod was trying to rob the ship on like a bet.
Yeah, and to take to try get conkers. And
Ford was like just there to observe to make sure he wasn't being cheated out of his bet.
I quite like that. Then he teleported us back into the maximum security ring of the Beetlejuice State Prison.
What a guy.
Yeah, he was a cool guy. Oh, this was before he became president, though.
Yeah, he was like a captain on a ship at the time. But then the chapter ends with the line, "The mice will see you now." Anyway, they're gonna go see the mice. So hopefully we see that in the next chapter.
Chapter 30.
So now we're back with
Arthur and Slotbart and the appalling mess of his study. And he picked up one piece of paper from the top of a pile. He was just trying to tidy it up, but yeah, it's just quite funny how, he picks up a piece of paper, doesn't know where to put it, so he puts it back on the original pile, which then falls over.
Yes, that's the proper way to tidy up. So Arthur is saying, after having seen the full tape, he's saying how he always felt like there was something big and sinister going on behind his back.
And he's like, no, that's just normal paranoia.
Yeah, Slarty Fartfast is just like, that's paranoia, everyone gets that. Like,
but then Arthur's like, but like, then if everyone has that, maybe there is. And it's like, well, who cares?
Yeah, he's like, stop worrying about like deeper meaning and stuff and just keep yourself occupied. And then he like shows off his award that he got for Norway.
And then he just like throws it.
Oh yeah, but not so carelessly that it doesn't land on something soft. He's like, I don't even care about this. It just suddenly it got popular and then I win an award.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's not Equatorian enough. Equatorian. But yeah.
I also like the lines where he says, I'd far rather be happy than right any day. But then Arthur's like, and are you? And he's like, no, I'm afraid that's where it all falls down. It's like...
And he's like, wow, sounds like quite a good lifestyle otherwise.
Yeah.
And then Slightly Bartfast is like, well, you need to meet the mice now, so we're going to skedaddle. So I'd gather as the third most improbable event in the history of the universe. What was the first two? Probably just some coincidences.
Yeah, leaving that open for
interpretation.
Yeah, maybe a future reference or something.
Right.
But yeah, the mice are very excited to meet Arthur, who's...
As it ends, Arthur says, I seem to be having tremendous difficulty with my lifestyle.
Right, and then we go into the next chapter.
Chapter 31. So, chapter 31 starts. It is of course well known that careless talk costs lives. And then it goes on to talk about how Arthur, saying, if you remember from the previous chapter, I seem to be having tremendous difficulty with my lifestyle, travelled through a freak wormhole that opened up in the fabric of space-time, and went back in time, across vast distances to where two alien leaders were trying to discuss, I guess, terms of surrender or peace negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly they're about to agree, shake hands and stuff. And then suddenly that the wormhole reopened up and that what Arthur said, had not played, but had been heard in the room.
Right.
And in the Vluhong tongue, it was the most dreadful insult imaginable. And they were like, well, we have to fight for centuries now. And then after large-scale defamation, after thousands of years of fighting and death, they realized, hang on, why don't we just locate the... They just located the origin of this crude message. And they spent thousands of years traveling to try get to this place, and they have the big war for years or whatever, and then they suddenly realize it was a misunderstanding. Right. So then they go across all of time and they go all across space for thousands of years to try locate the planet that broadcast this message, and it just so happened the first place they find is Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But due to a terrible miscalculation of scale, the entire battle fleet was accidentally swallowed by a small dog.
Yeah, turns out they're very tiny.
And then those who study the complex interplay of cause and effect in the history of the universe say that this sort of thing is going on all the time, but we are powerless to prevent it. But yeah, that's
Yeah, that was just an amazing little side excerpt thing that
like a footnote almost.
Yeah, I feel like you only get that in something like The Hitchhiker's Guide, because it's just pretty unrelated to everything that's going on.
Yeah,
it just went on a little tangent.
Yeah,
but it's
like your your grandpa's telling you a story.
Yeah,
and it kind of swerves off slightly. But anyhow, it goes back to Arthur. Yeah,
when we come back, it's
the old man on it, after a short aircar trip. They're in it looks like it's a dining room or just a massive place. There's lots like a big dining area with fancy tables, and they're all stuffing their faces with food.
Yeah, Trillian and Zaphod and Ford are there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, look, Arthur is not dead. That's good.
Yeah.
And then they introduce him to the mice.
Yeah. And then Arthur goes, ugh, there are mice on the table. And then just everyone fell silent.
Yeah. That's racist.
And I do quite like the this part where it's he heard the silence and glanced around at everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a nice little bit.
He heard the silence.
Yeah. Slightly oxymoronic.
I like the mice names.
Benji
and Frankie.
Frankie, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if I'll ever have pet mice, but if I do, I feel like those are good names.
Benji and Frankie.
Yeah. But yeah, it turns out they are the mice that Trillian
commissioned Earth.
Brought from, yeah, but also the ones that Trillian brought from Earth.
Yeah.
That were on the ship with them.
And what was this mentioned in the last chapter? But Study Bartfast was going to put fjords on Africa.
Yeah.
And they were like, no need. We and it's like, but I've spent ages making glaciers that are ready to melt and form the land all over African continent. It's like, I don't know, go on a skiing holiday.
It's like a skiing holiday. It's works of art. I'm not gonna go skiing on it. But they don't think they need Earth 2 because
they want Arthur's brain.
Yeah. They want the question.
Right. And they think it's hard code somewhere deep inside of Arthur.
Yeah. And they just want it so that they can go on talk shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And do a whole thing.
Yeah, have loads of gigs around the
question,
galaxy.
The answer to life.
An enormously fat contract to do the 5D chat show and lecture circuit back in our own dimension.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to have product, you see. It's like we need something, but it's like they need something for there to be follow-up.
Yeah. But they...
we have something that sounds good. An ultimate question that sounds good. From a couple mice.
They want to buy Arthur's brain to try and extract the question out of it.
Yeah, and Ford's like, well, no. But Zaphod's like, oh, yeah, replace it with a fake one. It's like,
yeah.
What he says
he's hardly
is, what?
using it. Whatever.
I don't understand. Where's the T? What's the difference? Who'd know the difference? And then Arthur goes, what? And then Zaphod goes, see? And then said Zaphod, and howled with pain because of something Trillian did at that moment.
Right.
It is, I like that. I noticed the difference. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. We'd make sure you wouldn't. So they're just kind of back to the door slowly, you know what, I don't think we're going to take up your deal. And
then they move to try and take it by force.
Right.
But a bunch of alarms sound at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically where that chapter ends. But I will say a detail I noticed earlier when they're all eating around the table.
Yeah, this is the Mega Donkey.
Yeah, someone asks for to pass the graded Octarian Mega Donkey,
which was used as a metaphor or an idiom.
It was yes, the old proverb of talking the legs off of a Mega Donkey or whatever. It's
yeah. But that was quite a nice little detail. But yeah,
it's always nice to see those sorts of things come back up.
But yeah, until the next one.